consent.
That's what you've got. You got the whole gallery scared of you, Mr. Mayor. They're all quiet. Maybe you should
No
smile
need
at
for
them.
that. Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of Taber Town Council for Monday, June the 10th, 2019. Call the meeting to order, please, and ask for an adoption of the agenda as presented. Councillor
Your Worship.
Garner.
I so move that we adopt the agenda as presented.
Your Worship.
Or there's a question. Councillor Chavez.
Sorry, Your Worship. There's an item on the agenda that has been dealt with. Item number 9.1 has been dealt with by council several times. The last time it was dealt with, council made some specific guidelines to administration in dealing with this item. There is no reason why this should be back on our agenda. Therefore, it should be deleted and administration should proceed with those guidelines.
Any other comments? Which item are you suggesting?
9.1.
9.1. All right. Closed session item. All right. Any other comments? Questions? Councillor Beckering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Of course, Council Strovers is correct. Unless there's a notice of motion or a motion forthcoming to put this back on the table, this is indeed dead.
All right. Any other questions? Councillor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would move to include that item onto the agenda.
All right. Thank you. Any other comments?
Your Worship, do you need a motion to delete it? Is that what I need to do? Is that, I'm moving to amend the motion to delete that off of the agenda. So I'll make
Correct. I
that
understand
motion.
that. I guess just to clarify, Mr. Arnfeld, related to this particular agenda item, closed session agenda item, we require 2/3 of the council support in order for that to go forward. Is that correct?
That's correct. The agenda needs to be voted upon by a recorded motion with 2/3 of the council members voting in favor of adopting this agenda for that 9.1 to remain on the agenda.
So technically we have two motions. Councillor Garner did start one. Councillor Stravas also
Sorry, Joe.
had a motion related. Councillor Garner.
I'm prepared to rescind
For
my
presented.
motion.
Okay, so related to Councillor Stravas, a motion to delete item 9.1 and or the rest of the council agenda as presented. All in favor?
For clarification, you're voting to delete it off to proceed with the deletion? I just want clarification.
Your motion, just if you just go with your motion again, please, Councillor Stravas.
I'm going with motion that we amend the agenda to delete item 9.1.
All right. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? All right, that's carried, or sorry, that's defeated. That is defeated. That's correct, right, Mr. Arnfeld, in that case?
That motion was just defeated. That is correct.
Yes, all right. So just to clarify, we still need to go forward with the motion to carry on as presented.
To adopt this agenda and be consistent with the council procedural bylaw, it is my suggestion that council proceed with the adoption of this agenda with a 2/3 majority recorded vote of council.
All right, someone prepared to make that motion? Councillor Thames.
No, I want clarification with, so you're suggesting we adopt the agenda as presented, and 2/3 of council has to approve that motion,
Correct.
and then 9.1 remains on.
Correct.
Someone prepared to make that motion. Councillor Bruin.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, but so we're voting, we vote in favor of the motion to adopt the agenda as presented. That's fine, then we have to do another motion whether we want to put 9.1 on, or what are we voting
We
for?
just dealt with Councillor Stravas' motion, which was defeated to take that off the agenda. It is now staying on the agenda as per the 2/3 council support requirement.
So what you're
to go
asking is
forward.
just a vote to adopt the agenda
Correct.
as presented.
Correct, just like Mr. Armfield was suggesting.
In order to adopt this agenda as presented and to be consistent with council's procedural bylaw, the vote has to be recorded and 2/3 of the members of council have to be in support of that motion.
All right, Councillor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to adopt the agenda as presented.
Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. On to item number 3, adoption of the minutes. Item 3.1, minutes of regular council meeting May 27, 2019. Mr. Armfield.
Yes, if I may take some liberties just before I introduce this next agenda item, I'd like to draw council's attention to Miss Erica Dam, who is seated to my left. She is our finance intern and sitting in on the council meeting this evening, this afternoon, just to shadow administrative services. So welcome, Erica. And with that, presenting to council for your consideration towards adoption the meeting minutes from May 27th.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Someone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Thames.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, move that council adopts the minutes of the regular meeting of council held on May 27, 2019 as presented.
Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. On to item 4, business arising from the minutes. There are none. Item 4.1, Westview Playground Proposal. Mr. Armfield.
Yes, if I could call up the Director of Recreation, please. There was a motion made by Councillor Bruin a couple of meetings ago to direct administration to put a survey out to some of the residents in Westview just to see what their taste was with regards to a proposed playground in that area. Ms. Phillips, can you take us through that, please?
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor, members
Afternoon.
of council. At the May 13th council meeting, council had directed administration to canvass the Westview neighborhood regarding the proposed playground location. And on May 17th, letters went out to 48 members of the community that lived within a 150-meter radius of the proposed location. We received 9 responses, 7 were supportive and 2 were against, and all the addresses are included there to ensure that they were within the 150-meter radius, and all the comments were also included in the agenda packages. So administration is recommending that council supports the Westview Estates Community Group's fundraising efforts for the installation of a playground in Westview Estates and provides further direction to administration regarding to the location.
All right, thank you, Ms. Phillips. Any questions arising? Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And Ms. Phillips, the area structure plan for that particular area does not include the playground in that location, does it?
No, it does not.
Where was that proposed, their playground, please?
It is further to the northwest corner in stage 11 development of the Westview Estates.
All right, anything else? Councillor Bruin.
Mr. Mayor, through to administration, how many houses live in that 150? How many units are there in that 150? Is this all the houses?
48, yes.
So out of the 48, 9 responses back, looks like.
Yes.
All right, any other questions arising? Councillor Bruin.
Mr. Mayor, I'm prepared to make a motion. Council supports the Westview Estates Community Group's fundraising efforts for the installation of the playground in Westview Estates and provide direction to administration regarding the location as presented here on the drawing. to match the contours of the land.
Okay. All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? Councillor Bickering?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can we get that read back, please?
The council supports the Westview Estates Community Group's fundraising events for the installation of a playground in Westview Estates and provides direction to administration regarding the location as presented on drawing to match the contours of the land.
Thank you.
All right, thank you once again. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Good, thank you. Item 5, bylaws. There are no bylaws. Item 6, action item 6.1, 3/4 ton service body truck approval of award. Mr. Armfield.
Yes, looks like Public Works is coming up to present a tender award that came in a little bit over the budget. Mr. Scheer, Ms. DeBona, would you like to carry on?
Yes, good afternoon.
Oh.
So in the 2019 capital budget process, council approved $60,000 for a 3/4 ton service body truck for the engineering and public works department, specifically the facility maintenance department. We sent out a RFQ for quotes from the 3 local vendors, and we had a quote for the service body from ITB Truck Body in Coaldale. They came over budget. We only got one submittal back from Tabor Ford. Legacy Dodge and McDonald Chev did not send us a quote. And ITB is the local reading service body provider in Alberta. There we go. Although we were unsuccessful at negotiating with College Ford to get a lower price than they already had offered with our significant municipal discount, we were successful in negotiating a minor discount on the service body portion from ITB, a savings of $795. So we are over budget by $4,231.34. But we recommend that we proceed with this procurement as we investigated all of their comparable units, and we're ensured that we're getting good pricing and that it's competitive.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Someone prepared to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Towns.
So the quote is not what we see here. You got International Truck Body. It's actually Intercontinental Truck Body out of Coaldale, and it's a reading body that they've quoted or their own.
It's a reading body from them. So on the financial summary, she has the International Truck Body for $17,490. That's the correct financial summary. So the Ford body is from Ford in town for $46,741.34, and then the body itself for their tools is from ITB in Coaldale.
It's not an International Truck Body because there's an International Truck Body company too. This is a reading body.
From ITB.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
All right, any other questions? Someone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Bruin.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make the motion that council approves the purchase of the 3/4 ton service body truck from College Ford of Tabor in the amount of $46,471.34 and purchase the truck body from International Truck Body at a total cost of $17,490, GST not included. The additional funds in the amount of $4,231.34 to be taken from the capital reserves.
Councillor
I
Towns.
make a friendly amendment, Jack, that it doesn't say International Truck Body, but Intercontinental Truck Body from Coaldale, the proper name of the company.
Mr. Mayor, as long as that's correct.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, I gladly accept that amendment.
Sorry.
All right, friendly amendment motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.2, tender decision, North Reservoir upgrades. Mr. Armfield.
Yes, Mr. Scheer and Ms. DeBona can stay in the hot seat and present the next one, please.
Sure. So this actually came to council last year, if you remember. We only had one bid last year, was $540,000. So we asked council to dismiss that. Brought it back this year. This time we went through a different format. We pre-qualified. 6 contractors, submitted their names. They were pre-qualified. We had a good tender, all within budget. Within that budget was exterior waterproofing addition, some reservoir piping modifications, interior wall modifications, and the addition of sodium hypochlorite, which is a purification system. So we're recommending that the tender be awarded to Porter Tanner and Associates. It was a good tender, well within budget. It is funded through the Water and Wastewater Fund, federal money. So $175,000 worth.
All right, thank you. Councillor Garner?
I'm prepared at this time to move forward with the motion that council awards North Reservoir Upgrade Tender to Porter Tanner Associates Incorporated for the amount of $340,141.20 inclusive of GST.
Right, motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.3, core switch stack purchase request to council. Mr. Armfield.
Yeah, so last week we had a pretty busy week in our IT department with some of our internet going up and down. Mr. Abdel Khalik is going to explain why he pressured me into spending $32,000 last week in order to keep everybody safe. And hopefully your answer is good enough, because I have to defend it to council.
Councillor, thanks for having me today. As Mr. Armfield said, we've been having trouble with our core switch. To make it simple, the core switch is the heart of our network. Everything is connected to these switches, our systems, all the buildings around. So to be able to access our network, that's how we get everyone to connect to it. We've been having so much troubles with it. I've been spending lots of overtime trying to troubleshoot and get it going. And I can't trust it to keep going anymore. It's in our evergreening plan, but I don't trust if it will keep going for a day, a month, or a year. It could quit any time. And if it did happen, we will lose phones, internet access, emails, files, printing services, the recreation software, the finance software, every system we have in the town. No one will be able to access it, and no one will be able to do their job. So that's why it's very important to keep it going.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Councillor Pickering.
Thank you, Mr. Ebb. Al, what was the lifespan of the particular switches that we replaced?
Usually 5 to 7 years.
How long did these last?
This is the 4th year.
I hope you didn't replace them with the same product.
Nope.
Thank you.
Councillor Tams.
Because they tend to fail, and I get that. Did we get a bigger, better one, or so the CEO didn't cheap out then?
Kind of, but not completely. We didn't get the Cadillac. We got the Corolla.
All right. Councillor Tams.
Mr. Mayor, I move that council accepts that the CEO undertook an emergency purchase to ensure business continuity and safety of emergency service personnel to the sum of $32,000 transferred from the capital reserves.
Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Good. Thank you, Al. Item 6.4, Performing Arts Center Committee Dissolution. Mr. Armfield.
Yes. Megan, are you coming? So we have had this Performing Arts Center committee for quite some time. Councillor Garner and I attended a meeting with the chairperson of that committee some time ago. And I really think it's time to move forward with a disillusionment of this committee, and as per council strategic plan, create another arts and cultural oriented committee that has a bit of a wider scope. In any event, with regards to the terms of reference, I think this one has seen its lifespan through. Ms. Brennan, do you have anything to add to that?
I don't, other than if council has any concerns about the PAC committee, that dissolving them will provide you more flexibility in creating that new committee as per your strategic plan to go towards a more holistic approach to arts and culture in our community.
Any questions arising? All right, someone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Garner.
I can make that motion. The council dissolves the Performing Arts Center Committee and thanks each member of that committee for their dedication and work during their tenure.
All right, motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.5, unrestricted net assets transfer. Mr. Arfel.
Yes. Mr. Orwa is going to come up and make a bit of a presentation about how to move some money around.
Right,
Please
Mr.
do.
Orwa.
Of council. So the unrestricted, the movement of the funds have already gone through the audit committee, but I think it has to be ratified by council. That's why it's appearing before council today. But just a quick brief background there. We had some funds in 2017 that was not moved. Then we also had some in 2018. So the audit committee decided to move everything the beginning of the year, that's in 2019. So we'll be moving about 3.5 million back into the reserves.
Okay. Thank you. Questions arising? Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Orwa, being a financial layperson, is this good news or bad news? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you. Councillor Stravas.
I'll proceed with a motion that council approves the transfer of funds in the amount of $2 million from the 2017 unrestricted net assets and $1.5 million from the 2018 unrestricted net assets to capital reserves for a total transfer of $3.5 million effective January 1st, 2019.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.6, first quarter financial statements. Mr. Armfield.
Yeah, and next, Mr. Orwa, please present the financial statements or anything that the audit committee is bringing forward.
And thank you very much. This again has gone through the audit committee and nothing was brought forward unless maybe there are any question that we can follow up with. But again, to get back to Councillor Beckering's question, there's still more good news in the first quarter.
Attaboy, John.
All right. Any questions arising? Someone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Firth.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move that council accepts the unaudited financial statements for the 3 months ending March 31st, 2019 for information purposes.
Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.7, disposal of municipal documents. Mr. Armfield.
Yeah, Mr. Orwa, please explain your shredding, please.
Thank you again, members of council. So this is just a review of every year. We do some kind of annual basis, the listing of documents that needs to be destroyed. And of course, we are following Schedule A of the bylaw number 10-99. So we have a long listing of documents that we'd like to destroy. That maintains, so we do have all the listings up there. So we have 7 years being kept. So every year we'll be dropping a year.
All right, thank you. Any questions arising? Someone prepared to make a motion? Councillor Tams.
Mr. Mayor, I move that council approves the destruction of the documents identified in the attached list per the retention period and years identified in Schedule A of the bylaw number 10-99, retention of municipal documents.
All right, motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.8, standing item council requests. Mr. Arfel.
This is the opportunity that council has to ask administration any questions or give us any direction through the form of a motion. At the end of the conversation, I would like to go through the attached spreadsheet there and just clean up a few of those items. I think some of them can be removed because they've been dealt with, but give council the opportunity to have a conversation first.
All right, thank you. Councillor Stravas.
Yes, Your Worship, in conversation with the Tabor Golf Club, they have some frost bubbles in their parking lot, and they would like to know whether the town could assist them in remediating them. If our public works could take a look at them and see what kind of cost factor would be involved in that.
All right. Mr. Armfeldt needs some more clarification on that one, I take it.
Well, it's probably a similar situation that we've experienced in other places in town. If council is comfortable with us just going and, Mr. Shearer, I can't see your head behind the pillar, but do you want to go and just check that out and we can bring that information back to council?
You want the amount and the cost of this, or do you just want to move forward with the repairs?
I guess it depends upon how much the repairs are, but if it's an insignificant amount, I don't know, rest of council, if you're in agreement to touch up those frost bubbles before they spread. And there's one of them alongside where the garbage trucks come in and lift up the garbage there, and one right at the front entranceway there. So,
all right, Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not opposed to this at all, but I guess it depends on what's our responsibility towards the golf club and the parking lot. What's the lease say, if there's a lease?
Yeah, that's something that we would want to, with the price of it. It's always good, to give us direction and then allow us to go and do some research and bring that information back to council.
I think just for some clarification, that the golf club maintains like the snow removal, etc., things like that, right? But this is a little different scenario, is it not, Councillor Stravas?
well, yes, it's actually, I think the parking lot portion there, I think is their own private property. I think the town owns the golf course itself, but the buildings there and the parking lot, I believe, are their own. So in this case, I guess a motion for administration to investigate the costs involved and see if there's any alleviation and helping them out would be in order.
All right, if you're able to craft that motion, that would be helpful.
I would recommend that administration to contact the Taber Golf Club and take a look at their frost bubbles and report back to council with the cost of remediating the parking lot.
All right, motion on the table. Any further discussion, Councillor Beckering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll speak against the motion. I think if it's private property, the town has no business going on there.
All right, thank you. Anything else? Councillor Bruin.
I'd just like to, till we know for sure that it is town or public, it'd probably be wise.
I think that would be part of the investigation, I believe, Mr. Armfeldt, correct? Yeah, okay. Okay, so once again, motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Any other standing item council requests? Okay, and Mr. Armfeldt, you wanted to speak to a couple items you suggested?
Yeah, I'll just bring up the attachment here. So the first two on this list, I think, are good to stay on as a reminder for administration. This is looking a couple years out into the future, so I don't want to miss that. The third one from the top, moved by Councillor Bruin to investigate a water table at the spray park, and then a child-adult swing. I know that that's gone to the Recreation Board, and it's really a budget item for a future budget consideration. Since we've sent that to the Recreation Board, is council okay with taking that off of this list?
Mr. Stravas, I guess it's more directed at yourself. It was your motion originally, but
Councillor Beckering's. Councillor Bruin's.
Okay.
It did make the Rec Board agenda, and it is something that the Rec Board is investigating. So it's not dropped. We are looking at it.
Mr. Mayor, I'd be happy if it is removed, as long as it is folded up, and we don't have to bring it back in.
Okay, everybody comfortable with that? All right, so you need an extra motion to remove it, or
No,
you just
we'll just take it off. You just won't see it on the spreadsheet anymore.
Okay, all right, and something else as well?
Yeah, there's a few of these I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
The one after is 64th Avenue. I understand that came to council at the last council meeting with the recommendation to keep the speed limit as it is. That would be, then my inclination would be follow the engineer's recommendation. I just want to see if there's anything the council would like to do with this one.
All
Your worship, perhaps, I realize it's come forth, perhaps the CAO can instruct the police department to more diligently check the speed on 64th.
Your worship, I actually can't do that. I wish I could tell the police department what to do. It would be dangerous.
You know, I think
that has to come from the police commission itself.
I think that was suggested at the last council meeting when it came up, if some more enforcement could potentially be done due to the high, I believe it was an 80% plus rate of speeding vehicles in that area. But I think the ask is also, Councilor Stravas, if our police commission members could possibly bring that up to the commission for that same ask.
The members of council will bring that up, but I think there's a lack of sharing the information from this committee to the police department. It seems like somehow that information is shared, but it's not readily available. So if it could be maybe delegated a little bit more responsibly, so that the police department could make note of these areas and do something about it. And this is statistics that has come from that camera that we put out there. That so maybe some recommendations should go forth to the police department specific about more patrol in these areas.
I think Councilor Stravas, just a basic ask for that to be added to the police commission agenda, the next agenda, for that same.
Yes, we'll add that too there, but I'm questioning, whether or not the information is shared properly with the police department, with all those different locations.
I can respond to that, Your Worship. So we talk about this in our traffic committee meeting, and there is a member of the Taber Police Service in that traffic committee meeting. There was some more work that came out of this in discussion with Sergeant Kaler. He wanted us to go back and actually take some more data on 64th Avenue. So we're doing that as per his request, and we'll be giving him that information as well. So that all the data from our initial sweep of 64th Avenue and the identification of the speeding that was going on there was shared with Sergeant Keeler in the traffic committee. And then the next suite of data will also go back to that traffic committee and be discussed and be shared with Sergeant Keeler.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Councilor Brew.
Just a little clarification. So with our photo camera, do we normally share that information with the police, or only if they request?
No, we talk about it at the traffic committee regularly.
So they can access any statistics that camera.
It's why we do it.
Okay,
yep.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, so if council is all right, we'll drop that one off the spreadsheet. I see nodding.
Yep.
Okay. The next one, Councillor Garner donates $2,000 to Communities in Bloom, not personally, but that was moved via council out of the council discretionary fund. My understanding is that, Mr. Bona, these conversations might not quite have been had with them yet, but they know that this is available.
We discussed it with them. They're more looking to purchase Christmas lights. We're looking at a number of different options, ones that could change color depending on who's renting, maybe putting it by the stage more. So there's been various discussions about where they have power, what they could do, but they haven't actually ordered anything yet.
Okay.
Just for clarification, they're the Christmas type lights, but they're lights that would be hanging from the trees on a year-round basis, LED lights. But their investigation process with the two of us that sit on that committee there, they're going to go look at the Japanese gardens in Lethbridge and just see how they lay theirs out and whatnot before they come. And then they'll make the decision on just how far they can go with them.
So, again, this one's kind of in progress, in my opinion. So I think I would recommend we take this off. Everybody is aware that this is out there.
We're all good with that?
If everybody's okay with that one.
Okay. Councillor Beckering.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Are we done with that, Mr. Arnold?
I have two more just on the other side of the page. To request both of these are on the same item, and the motion that was passed on May the 27th, we've ordered those benches. So if council's okay, we'll take that one. We'll clean up those two as well.
Makes sense. Yeah, we're all good with that. Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Councillor Becker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since we now have room, I just thought of one. And it's to do with horses. Apparently, there were some people riding horses on 80th Avenue recently, and which is within the town limits, of course. And they were questioned by the bylaw enforcement officer in Taber that they cannot ride horses in the town of Taber in the ditches. And there's been some communication back and forth, Mr. Armfelt and the TEA people. And there's a bylaw in effect, of course. I just wonder if we could look at that bylaw and maybe make a small revision, Mr. Mayor.
That's a possibility. Look at any bylaw, absolutely. You're just asking for that to be on a future agenda as an item?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm not asking for a particular revision. I'm just asking that it be brought forward, the bylaw be brought forward so we can discuss it. I don't know what the bylaw is called. Horse bylaw, what's it called?
It's a traffic bylaw for the town of Taber.
Okay.
I think it's known as the traffic bylaw.
Mr. Mayor, move that we discuss the traffic bylaw at the next regular meeting of council or the meeting thereafter in conjunction with the horses that are being ridden on 80th Avenue.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. Any further discussion? All in favor? All right, carried unanimously. Thank you. Any other standing item council requests? Okay, we got that covered then. On to, there are no delegations for open session. We're on to meeting inquiries. Taber Times, Trevor. Okay, perfect. Thank you. And I would just ask for a motion to adjourn and reconvene at 5 p.m. Councillor Garner.
I'm prepared to make that motion that we conclude and reconvene at 5 to 5.
Can we have that include a motion to go into closed session at 5, because then we can shut down our telecommunications.
Sure, yeah, okay.
With council's blessing.
Can you also add that to that then, Councillor?
Yeah, that we shut down our. I lost the train of thought there.
Just to go into closed session at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, to go into closed session at 5 o'clock.
All right, thank you. Motion on the table. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Good, thank you.
Sure that's what you want to do, Councillor Garner?
Yeah, that's right. I'm positive.
Done now.
And I've just got a text message that supper has arrived.